Stick around. I hope you have a few minutes. I'm going to do this as fast as I can because I want to show you that it's not really as intimidating as it looks, and it's not as confusing as it may seem. It's just different. So welcome. My name's Karen from 50 is the New 50 blog. Let me get this hair out of the way. And let's go ahead and get started. I thought I would do start to finish makeup. So the first thing I'm going to do is a little different. I'm going to put my eye makeup on first, just to show you that you can do that. If you get a lot of fallout or you feel like you make a big mess when you do your eyeshadow after you do your makeup, then try doing it beforehand. So the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to color correct my eyelids, because a lot of times we have a lot of melasma, freckling, up here on our eyelids. And so it's nice to just kind of neutralize that a bit. Now, if you're going to do that on your eyelids with your cream, one of your cream highlights, like this one here is called Mango, before you put your eyeshadow on, you're gonna wanna set it just a little bit with some setting powder. So that's one way to do it. I'm just tapping into our setting powder. This is called Vanilla Dust, and it's so great. It's still translucent. It's finely milled. It's not a pressed powder. It's a translucent powder that works great for setting. And the thing is that when you're doing eyeshadow, powder eyeshadows, you want to have some type of primer on your lid. And usually powder to powder works the best. So if you have a eyeshadow primer that's made for your eyelids, it really kind of has, sometimes it has a little bit of that powdery feel when it dries, because the powder eyeshadows are going to sit on them and not crease and really pop off of your skin. So let's go ahead and do a really simple eyeshadow look. I'm going to pick up this shade here called Bubba and tap off. This is just a nice eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to use just two eyeshadows today, a matte eyeshadow, this one here, and I'm going to make it a little bit more intense in the crease and kind of up onto the brow bone. If you keep your eye open, you can see like that. If you keep your eye open, you can actually see where the color is going to be deposited and show. And then a little bit lighter in the center. So just kind of keeping that really simple. Just a little bit of color on your lid. Going a little bit darker, little more layering in the actual crease and on the brow bone. So this is a way that you can just use one eyeshadow color, have it be a little bit lighter here as you pull it across, and then you can make it more intense by layering or building up the color out here in the outer and along the brow bone and in that crease. So it's Monday, it's the last week of July. Holy smokes, don't know how that happened. It's just gone by so fast. So the next thing I'm gonna do for a really quick eyeshadow look is just take my finger and dab it into one of our shimmer shades, and this is called Drift. It is still powder, but it feels like velvety cream. It really does. And I'm just gonna use just a little bit with my finger, and I'm just gonna lightly rub it right on the highest part of my eye, just to add a little pop, a little shimmer. If you don't have a whole lot of texture on the inner part of your eye, meaning, you don't have a lot of wrinkles and things like that on the inner part, you can actually take that shimmer, just use this other side of the eyeshadow brush, and just pop a little bit right on the inner part of your eye to add even just more of a pop. But if you feel like, shimmers you have to be careful with, then just put it right here in the center on the highest part, the most taunt part of your eye. And good. Okay, so if I had any fallout anywhere, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to clean it up now that I flip back over and do my 3D foundation. So this we call 3D foundation. A lot of times I hear okay, you color matched me, where's my foundation? This is your foundation. So it's just a different way of thinking about it. So with contour and highlight shades, that creates your 3D foundation. So we're going to start first with contouring. So I'm going to grab this brush, tap it into the contour, which again is cream. And if you have a taller forehead, go ahead and contour up on your forehead. Just go ahead and put that right here. Let's go ahead and tap that in really quick. Reload that brush and just tap up here. Depending, you can come down as low as you feel you need to, depending on like the length of your forehead and also the width of your face. If you're more narrow along here, don't bring it down. If you're a little wider, you can bring it down. It's really just looking at your own face and your own bone structure and making this work for you. Okay, so we're just tapping a bit of contour to add a shadow up here to help frame the face. That's it. It's really easy. It's not hard. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to tap a bit of contour underneath the cheekbones. So using that same brush, and everything's right in my palette, I'm going to come down and load my brush kind of at an angle. And then you're going to want to just feel out here. Here's your cheekbone, and just start by tapping just a bit of contour right underneath your cheekbone here. Stop about the outside of your eye. So just like this. Really easy. And go ahead and reload your brush again by going in at an angle. That way you're not getting the whole brush and making a really wide contour. This gives you a little bit more of a defined, smaller contour if you just catch it along the edges. And if you press, instead of swiping, if you have texture along the side of your face here, a lot of us get a lot of sun damage, a lot of drier skin, a lot of texture. If you swipe, you may not be getting a nice even coverage. You may be seeing some of your dry skin kind of moving around. We don't want that. So just tap in to get that on your cheeks. And that's really all it is adding, see, just that little bit of shadow right here, right there to define your cheekbone. The last place that you can contour, well, not really, you can contour on your nose. I never do, but you sure can. It's so easy. Don't overthink it. Just add a little bit of color on the right here along the brow or the bone where it starts to turn over. And you can even go underneath to add a little bit of contour to add a shadow under your nose to kind of shorten that nose. It's all about just creating shadows. That's what contour is about. So let's tap in fully and come up underneath our jaw, right along our jawline. And here, for guidance, for reference, I like to stop right where it indents in. So coming up underneath and right along there, and then pull that down and back. So again, it's just creating shadows. It's all cream. So not only is it buildable, it's also blendable. So if you feel like you got too much of something, just pull back and blend it out. Really, that's it, okay? Let's go back and do a little bit more color correcting. So I already did my eyelids because I put my eye makeup on, but now I'm gonna come in and just focus a bit in some areas where you may also want to color correct or conceal, and that could be underneath your eye. So I'm using a darker, warmer shade to conceal underneath my eye. I'm not going in with a really light concealer and trying to cover issues underneath my eye. It's going to bleed right through. Same thing like with color, sunspots. If I went directly on that with a really light concealer, I'm going to have to layer and layer and layer, and that's not what we want, right? We want to avoid all of that thick, heavy layering because we don't want to see texture. So I just tapped a little bit. Broken capillaries, redness, rosacea, anywhere that you just want a little extra color correcting, just go ahead and grab a shade that's going to work for that. And when I color match my clients, I always color match you to 3 highlight shades that are going to create your foundation. You may not need all 3, but you have the option to get them, and you're going to know what's going to help color correct and conceal but not look heavy, and it's going to match your skin tone. So we've got that on. Now let's just switch over to a nice big fluffy brush, tap it right into the main shade, and then just come in and start tapping it right on your face. So I like to kind of almost blend as I'm going by tapping and pressing that in. Another great thing about tapping or stippling your cream makeup on, even liquid makeup, instead of doing this, rubbing it, is again, if you have a lot of dry skin or texture, you're not moving all of that skin around. You're just pressing it in. You're avoiding building up any texture. You're actually blending as you go, which is great. So I'm just tapping into my main shade, and then I'm tapping it onto my face really lightly, not very much at all. Tap, tap, So just take your time, go around, kind of put it on and blend as you go. A nice thing about blending, oops, there goes my palette. I just dropped it. Oops. The nice thing about blending as you go is that, again, you're gonna avoid getting too much makeup on your face and getting anything settling into wrinkles, fine lines, all that stuff. So now that the brush is just pretty much without any makeup on it, I'm going to continue to do some pressing and blending, really pressing and getting that makeup moved in and around and blended so it really looks and feels like my own skin and it's not heavy. So I'll be right back, ducking down to get my palette, so hang on. Okay, let me grab that. Okay, now the other highlight shade I have is what I call a brightener or a pop shade. Again, you don't have to brighten on your face, but it's really fun to add a little extra dimension. So I'm just gonna use the other side of the brush I used to do the contouring. And again, tapping in very lightly. I'm gonna put a little brightener right here on the inside of my eye, down the side of my nose, and I don't go right underneath my eye, but I like to put just a little bit over, just kind of whatever's on the brush here. I don't even have to reload it. Just tap, tap, tap. You're blending and you're moving it, and then pulling it by tapping, pulling it across. Now, if you have under eye bags that create this shadow, these indentations, if you take a little bit of your brightener and don't go underneath your eye, but actually inside, down the side of the nose, and then just pull a bit over where that indentation is, that really kind of helps pull that forward. You can put a little bit of brightener down the bridge of your nose. That's just gonna naturally kind of give your nose a thinner look because it's gonna be darker on the outside, which adds that shadow a little thinner, but with the brightness here. You can put some brightener right above your brow. I try to avoid putting it really heavy right here where I have my number 11s. So instead, I'll come up above my brow and then just start to lightly blend in towards the center of my forehead, okay? So again, I'm keeping it so light in application, but just adding just a little bit of brightness. Last place you can brighten, a couple other places you can brighten over here along, like I like to put it just right on the outside, kind of in this V along my temple. Again, avoiding right here where I have texture, putting the majority of the color out here. Jody, this color I'm using right now is called Sunlit. I'll go over my colors here. Right now I'm adding my brightener or pop shade, and it's called Sunlit. It has a little bit of a yellow undertone to it, so it's really, really pretty. It adds a really nice yellow warm glow, and it's great for brightening. It's also, if you're much lighter than I am, and you have, you know, you're really fair skinned, you can use Sunlit if you have a lot of redness in some areas, but I really just like using it as a bit of a brightener. So the colors I'm using are Mango is my color corrector or concealer shade, okay? Sandy is my main shade, and I'm using Sunlit today, and then Astoria was my contour. So those are the Seint shades. If you're curious, if you want to get a color match, I would definitely not try to pick your colors out on your own. It's a lot easier to have an artist do it for you because we have used the makeup and we've color matched lots of gals. So if that's something you want to do, just let me know and I can help you with that. Okay, so I've got my foundation on. I'm just going to grab this brush one more time. I would also probably use my perfector sponge, but I forgot to grab it. I'm standing in front of a window here today for some natural light and I forgot to grab it. So I'm just going to use a little bit more pouncing of my big blush and bronzer brush. All right, so let's add some lip and cheek color and some illuminator. I'm going to use Madrid. It's a really pretty kind of coral kind of peach, and I'm just tapping it on and a couple dots on my right above my contour here like this. I'm also going to use it on my lips. I love this color. If you are a fan, look at how it matches my shirt. I love this color. If you like peach and coral shades, Madrid is like the perfect combination of the two. All right, so I've got my Madrid up on my cheeks, and I'm just going to take that same brush that I've been using this whole time to blend and apply, and I'm just tapping over. Use your phone or a mirror by the window. You use your phone. Yeah, so I'm recording this right now in my phone in front of a window. And then, you know, your compacts have a little mirror in it, so you can, if you need to, look in there. But if you can, you know, set your little desk up or a table somewhere in front of a naturally lit window, it's going to be so great, just because it gives such a true coloring, and especially the worst coloring, as we know. I'm going to fix my eyeshadow a bit, is like fluorescent, yellowy fluorescent lights in the bathroom, unless you have nice natural lighting bulbs in your bathroom. Okay, so Madrid, and then my latest obsession, I haven't used it in forever, and it's my honey illuminator. This is also cream. So the illuminators they come in cream and powder. I like the cream. I'm going to put it on my lips. It turns almost any lip shade into this gorgeous little frosty. Look at that, it's so fun. And then I'm also going to use it up here above where I put the blush for a little extra golden, little light, pretty yellow honey illumination right above your cheekbones. You can also put it up here underneath your brow, and that's going to just reflect a little bit of illumination, a little bit of light up here, and you can even put it down your nose just to add some brightness right to the center of your face. Okay, so let's go ahead and set our makeup. Setting spray first, and then if you need setting powder because it may be really hot or humid or you have an oily T-zone. So setting spray first, let it dry, then setting powder, and I'll show you how to do that. So shake up your setting spray, and you can just spray it all over your face, or if you're like me, I don't like to spray my face. I just spritz it on the end of my blush and bronzer, this big fluffy brush. And then you can see how it looks wet. I just come and tap my setting spray all over my face. Whoops. Get that piece of hair out of there. Okay. And we'll let that dry. So let that dry for a few minutes. And then if you need to add, if you feel like you need extra setting help because you have an oily T-zone, or you know that you always have movement in certain areas, then go back in and add a little bit of translucent setting powder just in those areas where you need it. Usually I apply that like with a sponge or my powder brush, but I forgot to grab it again. So what can I use that I have with me here? I'll just use this side of my detail brush. So just kind of loosen that up a little bit, just brush over it. So I've got some powder here. So then after that dries, just tap on just in a few areas where you know you may kind of need some extra setting. Just tap it on. Can you see how it's kind of showing up there? And then since I don't have a big fluffy, then just take whatever's left. Just lightly brush off whatever any excess, because you don't want to have excess powder. You just want to be able to tap on a bit to help with the setting if you need it. And I usually don't add extra setting powder, but I have dry, normal skin, and it's not super humid here in Idaho, but I know it's really hot and humid a lot of other places. So, all right, so I'm all done. That was my Get Ready With Me. Let's see. Let me look and see if there's any questions here at the very end. Feel free to ask me. And also, if you're, I tried Still Look Yellow. Okay, so let's see. So usually if your main shade is casting yellow or making you look yellow or orange, then you're going to want to switch to a lighter, cooler shade. So maybe the shade you have is probably either too dark or too warm if you're getting yellow, okay? So that's a good point. Yeah. That's why I love having 3 highlight shades and the contour when I color match my clients, because we're always going to have a shade that's going to work to color correct and conceal. And sometimes that darker, warmer shade, you know, it may be the shade that you use in the summer because you have you're self-tanning or you're getting some sun and some warmth to your skin. Your main highlight shade should be the shade that matches your skin tone the closest, okay? So it should be the shade that gives you the closest, blends right in, doesn't really stand out, it shouldn't look yellow, it shouldn't look orange, it should pretty much just look as close to your skin tone as normal. And then a brightener or pop shade. Now this can be very versatile. This shade can be, you can go with this warm shade, you can use more of an ivory shade, you can do a, you know, this can be flexible, your brightener or your pop shade, depending on what you like. So, and then of course your contour shade, you want to get that matched to you so that you have the right shade that's going to work with your hair color, your eye color, your skin tone. And then lip and cheek, go to town. That's so fun. I think everybody can wear all sorts of different colors. I think sometimes you kind of get in a rut. I know I have, where you're like, I can only wear cool pinks, or I can only wear this color. You know, try other colors. You'll be surprised, you know. And if you haven't tried new colors in years, try them now, because your skin tone has probably changed, right? Okay, so Jody, what shade would you recommend for Red Acne Correction? So if you have really areas that are very red, then depending on your skin tone, you can do anything that has more of a green undertone. So you could probably do June, which is a great shade that helps cover red as a color corrector in those areas. You could try that if you haven't tried that shade before. Yeah. And if you're working with artists, always remember that the artist that you're working with, you should be able to go back and ask them for support and help. And reach out to your artist always and ask them for more help. If you don't have an artist and you want to get color matched, I would love to help you with that. Just message me, or you can go into my bio and there's click on the links and there's a free color match. It says right there. You go ahead and click that. But always reach out to your artist before you go to another artist to get another color match. We're all independent artists with Seint, okay? So that means we're all independent business women. Seint happens just to be the makeup line that we represent, but we don't work directly for Seint. We work for ourselves. We're independent women. And so try not to get too many color matches from too many artists. It gets really confusing. Pick an artist that you resonate with, pick an artist that you connect with, and reach out to that artist. Now, if you've been color matched prior and you feel like you're just kind of not getting the help you need, then that's a different story, you know, then that's something that, you know, you can reach out to a new artist, but, you know, give your current artist the chance to make it right and to help you, because that's her job. I take it very seriously. I do this full time. Like I said, I'll be 56 on August 1st. So this is the last week of me being 55. I've been doing this for 3 years. And I do specialize in color matching and mentoring women my age that look like me. So I am here to do that very seriously. Take it real seriously, but have so much fun doing it. I'll save this live. So if you're catching it later, you can just comment replay. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy your Monday, and I will catch you next time I go live.